Hello dear student, this is a repeating for the subject 16.1 transforming shape. It is not very different from the other one, but the way of explaining the things may be better. It can be easier for some of you to understand, okay? So again I shall go through the reflection of shape, translation of shape, and rotation of shape. Again, as we said before, this object now, I want this object to be reflected around the mirror line, okay? The mirror line is by x equals 7 here. So how I reflect this, you have the most important thing by finding the image is to know from where you start your drawing, from where you shall start to draw your image. So I have to specify a point on the object, let's say this one. And then I have to find where do I locate this in the image part. So this point is 1, 2, 3, 4 squares away from the mirror line. So it have to be also 4 squares away from the mirror line in the other side. Okay, this is the point now in the image, direction, in the image part of the mirror line. So can I find another point? Yes, let us take this one. Where is the image of this point? The image of this point is here, because this point is 4 squares also away from the mirror line. So this point is also 4 squares from the mirror line. And then you only draw the other lines together, and you shall have your image very perfectly in the other side. So it's only important you have to know when I make a reflection for an object, that means every point on this object have a corresponding point in the image shape in the other side, at the same position but in the other side, and at the same length. You have not to change the length, and you have not to change the position, only the same position, the corresponding position, but in the image side. Okay, let us take now about translation. Translation is to change, to move an object. So when I have an object and I want to bring it here, that means each point of this object will move 6 squares to the right and 6 squares down. So again, I have to know first thing from where I should start. So you specify a point, this one, the black one, and then you go 6 squares to the right and you go 6 squares down. So this is your point here. So you shall start drawing from here. But before you start drawing, let me take another point. Let me take this point here in the object, and I also go for 6 squares to the right and I go 6 squares down, and here is my second point. So now I transformed my 2 points from the object here to another 2 points in the image part, okay, here. So now I can draw very easily. How long is this line here? The base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I draw my line also 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also for the base on the top, this is a trapezium with 2 bases. I draw the bases, and then at the end I just draw these lines here, the diagonal 2 lines. I connect the upper base with the lower base, and you have your perfect image down. Okay, this is how you move an object from one position to another position. That means also all the points on this object will move also the same. Every point move the 6 squares to the right and 6 squares downwards, every point on this object, so that it makes the image. Now we come to rotation of a shape. Rotation, we need a center of rotation. This is the center of rotation. I have the object here, and I want you to find me now the image. I take this point here. This point is the corresponding point for this point here in the triangle, and the point in this here is 1 square away from the center of rotation. So I draw the first point in my image triangle also 1 square away from the center of rotation, and the second point in my object here is also 5 square away from the center of rotation. So I draw my second point in my image triangle also 6 squares away from the center of rotation. Then I draw this line here. So I have the first line in my triangle positioned correct in the image part, okay, and then I shall just draw the other parts. You can also take a point from here and you find it here by rotation, but you only have to measure how many squares this is going. This 4, so you go down in this way, 4 downwards in this direction. Why? Because we are here rotating. When it is reflection, no, you have to go 4 squares up because it's reflection from this side to this side. For rotation, no, it goes in this direction downward. Okay, let us take another example to make it much more easier. We have this object, okay, it's an arrow, it's a blue arrow, and I want you now to rotate this arrow 90 degree first, and then you rotate it 180 degree. How you do that? To make this very easy, come to your shape here and take 2 adjacent points on the shape. But first, before we start, we have to know when I rotate this clockwise 90 degree, where should these points are? Where should be these points are? And where is the 90 degree and where is the 180 degree? So this line, this red line is the 90 degree, okay? And this red line here is the 180 degree. So this arrow have to start from here in this direction. So I take these 2 points adjacent one to the other. I see now these 2 points. This point is 3 squares away from the center, so it have to be here and also 3 squares away. So I try to rotate these 2 points 90 degree on this red line, okay, like this. As you see now, the corresponding point, this one, is 3 squares away from the center of rotation. Also, this one is 3 squares away from the center of rotation. So this is corresponding to this one. And this point is corresponding to this one. If this point now is 5 squares away from the center of rotation, that means this point also is 5 squares away from the center of rotation. So the positioning of these 2 points are correct on the 90 degree. I only then draw the other lines, okay? So only you draw these lines exactly the same length as in the object. So you have your image here, this image, the distances of these lines are all the same. This line here is 2 squares, you have 2 squares. This line here is 2 squares, you have to make here 2 squares. This line is 2 squares, you have to make 2 squares. And it looks like as if the arrow did really turn 90 degree. Now I like to continue and turn this arrow 180 degree. So I have to think about this axis now here. I have to bring this point here. What is this point? And what is this point? This point represents for me this point here. So it is now this point corresponding to this one is turned around for 180 degree, another 90 here, and this point corresponds to this point which turned around also for 90 degree here, and then you complete the lines just like the first one here, and you have your object image. You have your image turned around how much? 180 degree. So this object here turned around 180 degree, and this object here turned around 90 degree. So very important is to specify to know. You have to take these 2 points and you have to know where you place them when you turn 90 degree, and when you will locate these 2 points when you turn 180 degree. This is the most important, because the rest of the drawing is just like you draw the same shape with the same measurement, it will come correctly. But important is these 2 points, which are the base 2 points at the base of the object. And this is just like the other video. This is this line is also the corresponding line to the object line, this one here. So this is the line in the image, is 2 squares away from the x equals 7 from the mirror. Also this one is 2 squares away, and this one is 4 squares high, just like this one, and this one, the long one, is 9 square long, just like this one, the same length, and the both of them are away 2 square from the mirror. And then you connect only the diagonal. Leave the diagonal lines always at the end. So this is your image, and this question is the same, but here we reflect now the object around the horizontal, okay, not the vertical, around the horizontal. The same thing. You draw first this line which corresponds to this line in the object. This is the first line in the image object, which is corresponding to this line in the object, okay. Both of them are 1 square away from this mirror line, and then you draw the other lines, just exactly the same philosophy. This one is 5 square to this direction, this is 5 square. If you take any point on the in the image here, it corresponds with the point on the object, because this point here in the object is 6 square away from the mirror. Also this point on in the image is 6 square away from the mirror. In this way you draw your line. So this point here, for example, is three squares and little bit away from the mirror, and also the corresponding point on the object is also 3 squares and little bit away from the mirror line. So this is your object and this is your mirror. Thank you very much for your attention.